DJ LeMahieu is returning to the New York Yankees on a 6-year, $90 million deal, and the Toronto Blue Jays are runners-up again. What does it all mean? Let's talk about it. This is Instant Analysis presented by Tylenol Rapid Release Gel Caps. Rapid release for rapid relief. Arden Zwelling here with Shi Davidi and Ben Nicholson-Smith. And I'll say this, guys, coming into the winter, I never would have imagined DJ LeMahieu would be getting a 6-year commitment going into his age 32 season. But I also didn't necessarily imagine that the team that signed him would only be looking at about $15 million per season. So on the surface, it seems like a win for both sides here, but I'm curious to hear your perspective, and we'll start with you, Shi. Do you like this deal for LeMahieu? Do you like it for the Yankees, or do you like it for both?
Well, I think from DJ LeMahieu's perspective, he ends up in the spot where he most wanted to return to. And all along, I think everybody involved in the DJ LeMahieu market understood that he was likely going to return to the Yankees. They were his priority. The Yankees, he was the priority for the Yankees as well. But it all came down to how were they going to structure the deal and what that number was going to be. And I think teams like the Blue Jays in particular were trying to buy him out of that opportunity in New York. But I think this is a way for them to each meet each other's interests. The $90 million commitment, that's the number that gets LeMahieu the dollar package that he was looking for, and managing to spread it out over the 6 years allows the Yankees to better manage their competitive balance tax hit, so they can avoid trying to delve into that luxury tax.
For sure. And you can see how the Yankees obviously have a need for DJ LeMahieu. You look at their lineup now with him at the top of it, those exceptional bat to ball skills, his great OBP, even power that plays very well in Yankee Stadium. You put him ahead of Judge and Stanton and Luke Voit and Urshela and Torres. Like, what a lineup this is and remains for the New York Yankees. So they definitely preserve that offensive firepower. They still have some needs, need to get a starting pitcher. But from their standpoint, they also are able to spread out that $90 million over 6 years, as Shi said, to kind of dilute the impact of that cap hit, essentially, is what it amounts to. So for them, it makes sense. And of course, for DJ LeMahieu, $90 million, that's great. So I see this deal as a win-win.
It's an interesting discussion because LeMahieu reportedly had a 4-year, $78 million deal on the table from the Blue Jays, which would have seen him make more money per season, but obviously over a shorter commitment. And clearly he felt safer taking the greater overall guarantee here by $12 million, which is tough to argue with. But Ben, how do you think that yet another near miss for the Blue Jays could, or perhaps should, impact the club's offseason approach going forward?
Well, it certainly does impact things. And you can't fault DJ LeMahieu for taking more guaranteed money and playing for a team that's better. I mean, that makes sense to me. But at the same time, the Blue Jays have to adapt right now. And very quickly in the last week or so, they have seen Francisco Lindor, Liam Hendricks, and now DJ LeMahieu go off of the board. And so by no means does this cut them off from the super high impact type of player that they've talked about acquiring. There are still guys out there like JT Realmuto and Trevor Bauer and George Springer, and the Jays have interest in those guys. But with each player that comes off the board, the Blue Jays lose an opportunity, and there's one less pathway for them to have a successful offseason. So in this case, LeMahieu would have been a great fit in Toronto. There still are infielders. They still will, in all likelihood, acquire someone to help out on the infield, but it crosses off some possibilities, puts a bit of pressure on. That's nothing new. The Blue Jays essentially put pressure on themselves this offseason by going into it and saying, we expect to add in a big way. And now they have to deliver on that promise.
And that to me is where a lot of this hangs in the balance. And I think that the Blue Jays are going to have to really mind public opinion. And we've heard Ross Atkins a number of times this offseason talk about the need to be disciplined. I mean, this is where it's really going to come in for the Blue Jays, because I think fans are tired of hearing the Blue Jays were in on this guy. There are no silver medals in this. So you're either getting the player or you're not. And at some point, the Blue Jays are going to have to deliver on that impact. And I think as the fans continue to get more frustrated, that can create an area of pressure that could impact the Blue Jays. But look, it's not just fans that are going to be judging the Blue Jays right now. It's also the players on this team. The Blue Jays need to deliver for them. They need to show their players that they can get guys in the offseason. And I think that's a pressure point that is going to be really important to watch over the coming days and weeks, because the Blue Jays did raise those expectations, as Ben just mentioned. And if they don't deliver on them, it's not just the fans who are going to be upset.
DJ LeMahieu is still a New York Yankee, and the Toronto Blue Jays are still looking for their big offseason upgrade as targets come off the board. This has been Instant Analysis.